Alrighty, y'all, we're on this cold day here, cold enough to keep the garage closed, but I'm on part 2 of this Troy Bilt cutting, or 42-inch, 18.5 horsepower riding mower. I've been following on my Instagram. You've seen this mower over the past couple of months, depending on when I get this thing filmed. You saw it in the middle of January, I'll say that much. Hopefully this will be February when this thing rolls out and I film it, put it out on YouTube for you all to watch. Instagram is at Ellis Mowers 09. Add the 09 to the end of it and you'll find my Facebook and Instagram. Put a new battery in it. As y'all saw in part 1, y'all saw me get it running, and I've highlighted the issues that I've got to work on here in part 2. Mainly it's just kind of like doing a little touch-up stuff and whatnot. I'm gonna have to put a tire tube in that tube. I could get it to run a little bit better. I could drill out that low side on the that Chinese carburetor, but while it's under load, it's actually it's not surging or anything like that. So it does surge a little bit when it doesn't have any load on it. But I mean, these type of engines and carburetors are just a pain in the neck to try and get it to where it runs 100% perfect. It runs good enough. You're looking for no load under, no pulsation under load, and that's what I have with this mower. I was gonna wash it, but it's actually below freezing outside, or right at the freezing mark before I did this. But I'm gonna take the deck off of it. Should be relatively easy. I'm gonna get the blankets out. Should be relatively easy to get off, just because I just have to go through that one guide there on the crank pulley. And then I think it's just these 2 quick releases right here. One. And I've got the quick release on the front there too. And quick release number 2 over here. The reason why I'm taking them off the deck is because I need to kind of work on it a little bit. It's got a broken bracket over there on the right side that I need to address. So I'm going to take that bracket off. I'm going to take this front bracket off, which I should just be able to move the whole entire deck forward after I release that second clip there. Oh, is it going to come for me? It's trying to. There we go. That'll work. See, the whole deck goes forward. Gosh, I thought it's been a while since I've taken off one of these MTD decks. My goodness, this thing is easy. And you just do the quick release over here on the front, and that also works. I just let it fall out the front there, to be honest with you. It just fell out the front by itself. I take this bracket off, but here we go. So I just rocked it back and forth, and it fell off the front there. So now, see, I got the deck belt. Sorry for the shaky camera. I really have a good way to film underneath a mower. This deck belt is toast. I can't believe it's still cutting grass with that deck belt on it. Look how big that split is right there. Oh my gosh. I think it was just about to break off. Although we do know that it does cut, which is kind of a nice thing. I did pay $100 for this mower. I got that gray Craftsman in the back as a $40 bonus. Just getting that one fixed is going to make me about $150 on the lot as it is. So I'm in good shape as it is with this. I've got to run in and cut the mower. You're going to see me do the transaxle spring as well. So there's one more thing I've got to do, and it's getting that cable off there in the back. The cable for the PTO blading gauge. And take a note as to how it comes down. It comes down and around the back bracket over to the side there. So what I'm going to do, let me actually, because we're only about 6 minutes into this, set y'all down. I'm just going to pop under here. And I'm just going to take the, take that spring cable loose. There's 2 tabs. Actually, I don't know if there are tabs on this one. I just have to pull it out. Usually there's a clip on these things. Actually, let me figure out how to get this thing off, and let me get back to you. There's a closer look at the deck bracket that's broken on it. We'll get that fixed here. Let me figure out how to get that spring off. I should just be able to pull it out and pull it off, but it's giving me a little bit of trouble. I think it's a little stiff as well. So let me work on that, and then we'll pull the deck out. We'll give it a look. All right, so I got the contraption that they had holding this broken bracket together. Now that I have that off, I'm going to see if I can break it off. Or at the very least, I want to make sure that I can bend it back to where I need to bend it back to so that I can weld it, so that I can make this secure. I mean, this thing's pretty tough because it's been probably running like this for a good little while. Another set of challenges I've got is that the blades are pretty frozen on there, and so I hope I don't have to get, I hope I don't strip the threads trying to get them off. I already almost have stripped the nut. If I do that, then there's really going to be no choice for me than to just take the pulley nuts off the top and then bang out the spindle, the whole inside of the housing, and buy new spindle shafts, which I really, really don't want to have to do. So, yeah, so let me work on this bracket here, and then we'll figure out if I can save it or if I need to break it off and start anew. So we'll see what's going on with that in just a second. All right, so I used that pry bar right there and I was able to pry on this to get this back in place. Now what I want to do, it has kind of warped the deck, that washer with the nut and all that kind of messed it up a little bit. But I've got it pretty even for the most part on both sides, as well as under it. Let me turn the deck over for us. So under the deck, where is it? Right here. You can kind of see where there's a couple uneven spots and whatnot, but I'm going to massage that out with the welder. It's close enough to make that contact, and so we're going to weld it. We're going to weld it pretty good, and I'm just going to let these nuts here sit overnight with the lube on them, and hopefully that'll break up and loosen up the stuff that we need to get loosened up so that we can get these blades off, because that's going to be a pretty big hindrance if I have to wait on the blades. At least the spindles don't cost too much, but like I said, I don't want to have to spend any unnecessary money. and simply just getting these blades off is going to make a big difference. So like I said, I'm going to let this sit overnight. It's a good stopping point for me for tonight. Pick it back up the next day here and see if I can get these blades off, see if I can get this deck welded on. Alright, so this is, I guess, is a testament to change your blades every once in a while, because I think these may possibly be the original blades for the mower. If not, they were probably the second set of blades ever put on them. What I ended up having to do, because I was trying to figure out, you know, is it worth, what do I need to sacrifice is what point it got to. It's like, do I sacrifice just cutting off the spindle and getting a new spindle shaft, or do I try and save, do I just sacrifice the bolt, or excuse me, the nut, and get a couple of new nuts to put the new blades on? Well, I sacrificed the nut. I had to cut all around it with an angle grinder. It probably took me a good 15 minutes, just, you know, feeling out what I needed to do. And for the most part, I got it a little bit right there, and I got a little bit right there, but this thing screwed on and off just perfectly fine. So I was able to save the threads good enough to where I'm not going to need to buy new spindles, because both of the spindles are good. Y'all saw it cutting and everything. So one nut shattered, I guess. I got to work on the other one over here too. Maybe I'll find a little bit better approach. But as you can see, I gouged a little bit right there, and just a little bit on the end over right there. But nothing to hurt the threads. These blades are trash as well. I can't see if they're original MTD blades or not. It's getting kind of low light, but they go in the trash as well. Along with the nut, I have an owner's manual for this, so I know that I need to just buy 2 of those. $10 versus $10 to $15 versus $30 to $40 probably to get the new spindle shafts. So I'll take that. So I'm going to try and get this other one off here before it gets too dark, because I moved it out of the garage because I don't really want sparks flying all over my car and stuff like that. So let me get on to this, but I just wanted to show you all that, you know, sometimes you have to sacrifice to gain in this case, and I feel like I'm sacrificing a very small portion of what I could potentially sacrifice, given the knowledge that I know now, if you know what I mean. So, from doing previous riding mowers here over the past few months. Let me work on that, and I'll catch back up with y'all in just a second. Alright, so I've gotten the blades off. Now I'm getting the old Bilt off. And, so there's some guards on the side here that are held on by 3, I believe they're 7/16 inch bolts. You just take those 3 off each side there, and the guards come right off. So it's 3 7/16 inch bolts with a washer. So the tricky part is getting it off of this tensioner pulley is fine, but getting it off the second pulley over here is the issue. And the issue lies with this little device right here, this little linkage for the blade brake. So how to get around that is you can actually take the pulley off, which is probably the recommended method. It's a 9/16 inch right here on the top, and then on the bottom it's actually connected with another 9/16 inch bolt right there. You can see the thread sticking out. I've already taken the nut off. So I'm going to take, let's see if I can hammer it out, because silly me, what I ended up doing is I ended up getting the belt stuck right here. You don't have to get it up all the way. Let me put y'all over here real quick. I think I've backed myself into a corner by trying to force the belt out. This thing's been fighting me. Gotta take it off all the way, looks like. That in like so. Take the belt off. Breaking everything. Goes on like that. So oh, right there. So, all right. So what happened was when I pulled that pulley off, is that the springs took the tensioner back and kind of messed everything up here. I put it back together. This is the way that it goes: spring, pulley, and there. I don't know if y'all saw that little circle washer. It actually fits into like a little groove, so that you can kind of go back and forth with it. Which it will go back and forth whenever I, actually it goes this way, Casey. So it'll go back and forth like that. Of course, when I tighten it back up, it won't have so much play in it. I'm going to keep it like this for now, until I get the new build on it, because that was relatively easy to do. Seems like that's the easiest approach as well. There's probably other easier ways to put an MTD belt on. I'm just trying to do the easiest one, to be honest with you. So this belt right here is trash, though. I mean, look how bad it is. So I'll throw that in the trash. This thing, like I said, this thing's been trying to fight me here, but we're winning so far. Hopefully, we'll continue to win. Got my stuff on order. Should be coming in pretty soon. Belt, all that good stuff. So I'll catch up with y'all whenever I get those in. Alright, so I've got the deck welded now. Just that one spot where the bracket was kind of split off. I've checked it with the pry bar to make sure the welds are holding. Again, I'm a very amateur welder, but as you can see, I've got it welded around there. Welded in the back. And see if I can open this up on the other side here. Welded on the underside there. Hopefully. Again, by no means am I a professional. I just weld it so that it holds. So I'll paint it and wash the deck off. I'll paint it a little bit. and truthfully just wait for parts to arrive now, because I'm just waiting on the blades, spindle, or not the spindle, but the deck spring and the blade, or the deck belt. We'll see what we got. Alright, so the parts, everything except the blades have come in. I wanted to show you all kind of the setup that I did, and I could not find a good video as to how these springs go, or this particular spring goes, but I think I got it, judging by the fact that just the way that the belts and whatnot are on. And we'll find out if it works properly, or if it's a different way that these springs go. Please tell me. But as you can see, the belt's tight. Again, it's on. The pulley's not, going back and forth like crazy. And I'll show you the spring under here, the way that I put it in. Again, this spring was like $6 or $7, and this is what I believe is the only thing preventing it from actually driving. So you can see the way that I have this spring here. It goes into this loop here that attaches to a bolt near these two pulleys. So you can see drive belt accessibility is pretty good overall, except for this little cover right here for the steering, but I think you can get around that if you're careful enough. It's not quite as easy to change as the Craftsman's or the John Deere's, but there's your spring and there's the other place that it hooks into. So this is where your pulley, this gives you tension on the pulley here. So it's not very tight. However, it's just a tensioner spring, so it doesn't need to be, it's supposed to move back and forth a little bit. So, it doesn't have to be crazy tight. I'm just going to make sure it doesn't fall off, because that's the one thing that I don't want it to do. Because it doesn't look like it will, just the way that pulley setup is adjusted right there. So, we'll go with that, and I'll put a battery in it. We'll crank it up and see if it'll drive for us. Alright, so I've got the spring on. Let's see if we can move here. Alright, so as you can see, it does move now. So that spring did fix the drivability issues. I might have to take that carburetor back off and drill that low side jet out. It is still running like crud, so to speak. Might see if I can clean this one out, see if it'll run a little bit better. But I'll see what kind of drill bits I have, and I might drill out that low side jet. But I will end part 2 here. We've got the mower driving. I've got a mower built, ready to rock and roll. Got the bracket welded. I'm going to paint that off camera. Just paint this bracket off camera, and we'll start part 3 by putting the deck belt back on and putting the deck back on it, and putting the blades on and cutting with it. If I decide to mess with the low side jet, which I probably will on that carburetor, then I will put that in this video as well. Thank y'all for watching. again, I'm on Instagram, Facebook at Ellis Mowers09. You can follow along my projects there as well. We'll catch you on the next video.